Okay, so look, whatever you choose to do in your spare time, hey, that's on you. More power to you, all right? But when you're doing it on the job, on the clock, the disrespect, oh, we're going to check this video out here before they were famous. Now, a lot of you may know, maybe not, but this former police officer, Megan Hall, the Tennessee police scandal. This is crazy, man. Crazy. Haven't checked this video out yet, but man, talking about to protect and serve. All right, we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it. She should be on that with that gun.
Before becoming the newest meme virally infecting everyone's social media feeds, former police officer Megan Hall and 6 of her male officer associates would wind up being exposed for having had physical relations with one another in and around their workplace. Megan is a 26-year-old woman.
Before she continues, I just want to say this. I know this stuff happens a lot. I know it does. In just any workplace in general. But my question is, and I hope they'll go into detail about the men in this situation. Like, were they married? You know, I know everybody's pointing the finger at her, but you know, the old saying, it takes 2 to tango. But my whole thing is like, what's the history and the background on the men who are involved in this? You know, because just because she was putting it out there don't mean you had to take it. You know, we gonna see.
Whose full name is Megan Olivia Hall, a petite blonde with one heck of a baby face, who, prior to this news story, was perhaps best known by the few hundred people who followed her TikTok account, where she regularly showed off her copious number of tattoos. Megan is believed to have grown up in rural Tennessee and originally harbored dreams of one day becoming an actress. But rather than that, her life ended up taking a very different path when she wound up joining the Tennessee police force in her early 20s. On her path to becoming an officer of the law, Megan met her future husband and son of a preacher, Jedediah Hall, while the two were in college. They fell in love and made a life together. As Megan became—
Wasn't that name in Weird Al's Amish Paradise? Or am I tripping? Jedediah. Man.
a patrol officer, Jedediah went on to become a park ranger. Then in November of 2018, they tied the knot and bought a house together. In many ways, these two seemed like a perfectly matched couple, at least from the outside looking in. But underneath the surface, something was going on with Megan that would change.
Say, get you someone that makes you proud every day.
In many ways, these two—
get you someone who makes you this proud every day. And that still wasn't enough.
Seemed like a perfectly matched couple, at least from the outside looking in. But underneath the surface, something was going on with Megan that would change the course of both of their lives.
Leader, as several Laverne police officers are off the job, all linked to a sexual—
On December 12th, 2022, a complaint was filed at the Laverne, Tennessee Police Department, the very place where Megan Hall worked. The complaint was filed by none other than the mayor of Laverne, Jason Cole, who had been given a tip that Megan was allegedly having intimate relations with other members of the department, including, but not limited to, some very passionate happenings while on the clock. As was then initially reported by Nashville television station WTVF, the resulting internal investigation revealed that these affairs were alleged to have taken place not just at hotels, but during work parties, in the workplace, and yes, even on a boat. Some of these trysts reportedly happened during football watch parties, and the resulting report from the investigation describes other findings, like Hall and the men continuously sending scandalous images to one another, participating in what's been described described as a girls gone wild hot tub party taking place on a colleague's houseboat that was thrown in celebration of Memorial Day. Now, just in case you think Megan was keeping her husband totally in the dark about what was going on, apparently he at least had an inkling in regards to what she was up to. After all, according to the report, in the spring of 2022, Megan tried to coax him into sleeping with another married couple, one of whom was an officer she worked with. In fact, while out at a party with Megan, Jedediah walked into the room to find her passionately swapping spit with her coworker's wife, but he just as quickly left, upset with what he had seen. Before that happened, the other officers involved in the scandal had reportedly been under the impression that Megan was in an open relationship.
And what's that comedian, Haha Davis? Oh, she a freak. Tried to get him to do some swinging. See, again, man, I feel like it wouldn't have been so bad had it not taken place in the workplace and all, on the clock and stuff like that. Like, and it's crazy too, because when they said Laverne, I was thinking by me. I didn't know they spelled Laverne like that. What the hell is this? But just look at their faces, man. Look at their faces. Damn. I hope they go into the story of them, though.
But after seeing her husband's reaction firsthand, they began to realize, well, that was not the case. Not that it let it stop some of them from continuing to spend private time with Megan, though. Eventually, one of the men Megan was involved with became the whistleblower who alerted the mayor as to what was going on. That man was Sergeant Ty McGowan. But here's the thing, while McGowan was more than willing to tell the mayor's office what Megan and everyone else was up to, he kinda left out the very important detail, that he was also complicit in sharing a bed with her. He also reportedly became rude and verbally aggressive when his own activity was eventually questioned and investigated.
Damn.
As a result of the probe, 5 officers were fired, including Patrol Officer Juan Lugo, Sergeant Lewis Powell, Detective Seneca Shields, Sergeant Ty McGowan, and of course, Megan herself. Furthermore, 3 other officers were suspended without pay. Patrol Officer Patrick Magliocco, Patrol Officer Gavin Schober, and K-9 Officer Larry Holiday.
Damn.
For those of you wondering, that means in a town of just 40,000 people, Laverne's police force has now shrunk by a total of 12%, leaving only 62 officers to patrol the streets while also having to undergo mandatory retraining when it comes to rules, regulations, and expectations. Because their police chief, Burl Davis, is, well, let's just say he's not pleased with these going-ons. He released a statement to USA Today that read, "I want to be clear that the actions of a few do not represent this department as a whole. The situation is being addressed internally with our staff. We are bringing in counselors to help our officers work through these circumstances, and we will continue to provide the most professional protection as possible for this community."
It's like when you say stuff like that, in most people's mind, they're going to be like, okay, so these were the first ones who got caught, Because like I said, the stuff goes on. It goes on. You're spending all this time with people, and it happens, But 40,000 people out there, I'm pretty sure, probably in that town, what goes on. I wonder what goes on in that town, if you know what I mean.
For how all of this scandal is going to affect Megan's marriage? Well, according to reports from the New York Post and the Daily Mail, Jedediah is planning on sticking by his wife.
Yeah, I heard
After
that
leaving
too.
his job as a park ranger a few months ago, Jedediah had been in training for the Tennessee Highway Patrol. But with everything that's happened, he pulled out of the program and he has since become a deputy to the Coffee County area.
When did the other cops pull out? So she fired. He left his job. Now what?
When asked how Jedediah is dealing with things, his new boss, Sheriff Chad Parton, told the Daily Mail, I don't know how he's doing it. He's more of a man than I am, but he's trying to salvage his marriage. Whether or not that feeling goes both ways is kind of hard to tell. Since this entire scandal broke, Meghan has done her best to avoid the media. But when the Daily Mail finally caught up with her and asked if she was feeling remorseful for what had happened, she simply shrugged and told them, "I don't want to discuss it. I'm just going to move on and live my life." Reading between the lines of that quote, it doesn't really sound like she's considering anyone else's feelings other than her own, which is probably how she found herself in this mess in the first place. But hey, it's impossible to know what's going on behind closed doors, so maybe she's just willing to try to make her marriage work like her husband is. Maybe. What happens in the personal life of Meghan Hall is almost besides the point. That's just what being turned into an internet meme means in today's day and age. Because after the local Tennessee news outlet broke the story to everyone's attention, the internet began having a field day. Not only have a bunch of users hopped up onto LVPD's Facebook page to randomly comment on the scandal under posts that for the most part have nothing to do with what happened, but some are even asking if the department is hiring. Then there are the TikTokers who've latched onto the story and commented on it in the not so subtle way that only TikTok can provide, through sound and occasionally interpretive dance. But by far the most popular form of proliferation when it comes to Meghan's story is the simple and basic meme. Whether she's being reimagined as Thanos wearing the gauntlet with her fellow male officers' faces in place of the Infinity Stones, or simply suggesting that she's very much looking forward to the next workplace gathering. The internet can't get enough of Meghan's story and her misleading cherub-like looks. What's gonna happen with Meghan Hall's future, and will her face still be taking over our timelines with one meme after another months from now? We'll just have to wait and see. After all, this has been Before They Were Famous. Thanks for watching today's latest video and
again, I know she allowed it, but they had to do it. You know, they ain't saying nothing about the guys. I don't see nobody saying nothing about them, you know, if they're married or nothing like that. So, yeah. I think I'm going to go live and talk about that, because it's pretty crazy. Maybe I'll go live and talk about it, see what y'all got to say. But this was pretty crazy, man, when you really think about how small the town is, and like it's like you knew word was going to get out. I'm looking at those brothers and I'm like, and the husband is staying with her, like, bro, you gonna have some tough time trying to compete. So I know they done ran through it. And they didn't even go into detail about how many times it might have happened, you know, on the clock. All right. Can't wait to see the comments on this, man. Peace out.